Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games back with another cool pinball repair video for you this evening. We recently made a video where we said that we didn't enjoy working on newer pinball machines. And then a guy called us and said that he had a high speed he wanted to sell us. And so we thought, high speed, when did that come out? I think that came out in 1986. So that's not a newer pinball machine, so bring it to us. So the guy brought it to us. We gave him his money, and we're excited to have it. That's more our speed, the 80s machines and older. If it's from the 1920s to the 1980s, that's our speed. We like those. So I figured I would show you what we do when we get a new machine in that we're going to work on. So we've got a big mess here in our shop. Games everywhere. Remember, there's only two of us. Games everywhere. Video game stuff everywhere. I've got a radio somebody was kind enough to gift me. There's a radio over here that somebody wants me to repair for him. I got to do it pretty soon. We've got a seat that we accumulated that goes to a driving game that's over there. Someone sold us their Miss Pac-Man cocktail table. I've got a jukebox here I've been working on and off. Everybody keeps waiting on that. We've got the pinball machines back here everybody wants us to do videos on. I've got this abomination here, a Time Crisis 3. The monitor is a Wells Garner D9200. I think I just threw up in my mouth a little bit. It's a Wells Garner D9200. Tells you what I think about that. So we've been working on that. We've got an Excite bike here that we're going to fix for our buddy Jonathan. It's coming soon, Jonathan. Don't worry about it. So I had this stuff all kind of set up where we've got room to work on stuff, right? So I can work on the jukebox. I can work on the cocktail table. I can work on the Time Crisis. I can work on the Excite bike. And then there was an auction, a local auction, and I just happened to be looking at it. Now, I know what you're thinking. I shouldn't be buying anything until I get this stuff fixed. It's a good point. But at the auction, this little baby came up. Look at this gorgeous freaking jukebox. Look at this thing. Holy crap. What a piece of beauty. So I had to buy it. So I brought it in, and I didn't really have a good place for it, so I put it right here. You know, I'm trying to keep everything, you know, trying to keep it all clean. Now, we've got, you know, access here. It's got to be safe. This is in our work room, too. This is our showroom, basically, that we don't let anybody in unless you're special. So if you've ever been over here, that's because we think you're special. So I put it right there, and then the guy called about the game, and he brought us another Miss Pac-Man cocktail table, which is fine. I'll buy as many of them as pop up. Those are just as epic as it gets. And he brought us this high speed. So I've got to move a couple things around so that we've got room to actually work on the high speed. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. So I think I'll also get the trash can, and I'm going to use a screwdriver or something to get rid of that piece of gum. That's disgusting, people. That's disgusting. I don't know why people do that. So I'm going to clean that up first, and then we'll get this set up to where we can actually work on it, and then we'll see exactly what we have here. It has a big secret that I haven't showed you yet. You're going to love it. All right, so I've been making some room over there, but I figured I'd show you this side of the building if you haven't seen it in a while, just so you know that the whole building is not a mess. So our building is roughly split in two. It's actually two addresses, and we've on one side got a showroom. So on this side is all of the games that work. We've got these two exceptions here. This popcorn popper works. We just recently got that, but we don't have an ability to hook it up and show it off and pop popcorn for a customer who may be interested in buying it yet. So I got to mess with that. And then I've got an old phonograph here that was working. You may have seen the videos of me fixing that on Amateur Repair Time. I brought it up here to the shop to sell it, and somebody broke it the first day because they just kept turning the handle until the spring broke. So other than that, everything over here works. You might remember some of these games. So this side of the building, everything's straightened up. Everything's nice. We've got a room here. We've got many of our shooting games in, or I guess a few of them. So we've got, this is the side that the customers come in. So depending on what day it is or what time of the day, we've got everything turned on for them. You just saw this video, the NBA Hang Time. We've got some games that we've repaired. These are customers' games. So we've got the Prospector Pinball, the Devil Zone, the Thief, and then a multi-game here that we fixed for a guy. We've got some t-shirts that we sell, some albums, LPs, I guess you'd call it. A lot of our video game stuff. I got a few old watches there that we sell. Atari, Nintendo, DVDs. We're trying to be, you know, we mainly do video game stuff, but we've always done arcade game stuff, and then the other stuff that fits along with it. We squeeze in here too. More movies. This is vintage computer games and Atari, things like that. We try to keep it pretty organized. More DVDs, PC games, a few Blu-rays. These are like broken game systems. If we test, we have to test every system. It amazes me that some video game stores don't test their systems. You kind of have to test the systems because half of them don't work. But the ones that don't work, we put over here, of course, at a greatly reduced price. We get a lot of people in that like to try to fix things themselves. Wii U, Xbox One, Xbox 360. We had a couple Xboxes in, original Xboxes in the other day, but we sold them. Games and things. Some more vintage stuff. We've got a DVD player and a Blu-ray player up there. Both of those actually work really well, so we sell those a little bit. People will come in. PS2. This is just a little counter that we put a little random stuff on that might be the special of the week. Maybe this week you want some plug and plays, so we got those out. So we'll sell a couple of those and then we'll move them and put something else here. It's kind of like the little accent thing. You know, we're mom and pop. We're pop and pop store. we do it old school. All right. Got some posters on the wall, old video game posters for sale. A little bit more newer stuff, but we basically don't do the new generation stuff. We do one generation behind typically. Sega Genesis, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2. We're sold out of PS3s right now. I got a PS4 over there that we got to clean up, but it works. A little bit of like Sega Genesis and Sega Saturn, Sega CD, a little bit of that stuff. And then this is handheld stuff, PSP, Switch, Game Gear, Game Boy. We sold a nice little dot matrix Game Boy earlier. We're selling these little Pokemon displays. Our buddy Matt made some of them, so we put them in the display for him. Nintendo DS. Right, some more video game posters, some of our games for sale. But we're kind of straightened out now. All right, so it's, you know, my whole point is, this is the side the customers come in. So everything over here is nice and organized, and we've got goodies everywhere that you can play and look through and all that. So over here behind the counter, this is where we're at. And this room also has a door, but it's locked. So this is just our behind the counter area, which is where we film a lot of the videos. And then we have our back room, as we call it, right here, which is actually kind of the middle of the building. And so we store all the parts back there. We've got a few games back there. I've just moved Jonathan's Excite bike back there so Joey can work on it back there. And you've seen a bunch of videos in there. And in this area here, we've never really known the best way to do this. So what I've tried to do is just set it up almost where the games are on display that we're going to be working on next. All the ones over on this side are working, but all the ones over here don't work. So this is the stuff that we're working through. That's why you've always got videos of us working in this area, and then you end up with the same games in the background all the time because we just haven't fixed them yet. So I moved the Miss Pac-Man over here with the other Miss Pac-Man, because doesn't that just seem right? Doesn't that just seem right? Now, I wonder if they're the same. Those are actually both Pac-Man cocktails that have been upgraded to Miss Pac-Man cocktails. So if you don't know, they had a little kit to make Pac-Man Miss Pac-Man. You added a little daughter board and a little ribbon cable, changed out a couple of EPROMs, and now you had Miss Pac-Man. So they've had the Miss Pac-Man tops put on them, but they're still the Pac-Man cabinets. You can tell by the coin door, since it's just got one coin slot, and you can tell by the control panels, they're a little wider. And also, I think the wood on the cabinet is slightly different, like it's a little bit different pattern on these Pac-Mans. So anyway, so there's two of those. I left all this kind of the way it was. I cleaned it up a little bit, threw away a box. This is stuff for my brother Donnie, where we're going to be sanding a floor pretty soon. It's a bunch of sand paper for a commercial sanding machine. These are the buckets for the popcorn machine in the back. We got a real good deal on that. Jukeboxes, change machines, a lot of my old electromechanical games and stuff that I want to work on. A few pinballs that we've got. Like we said in one of the earlier videos, we're not a big fan of the newer machines. It's just not our thing. We've got a couple little pachinko Pocky Slow machines, a few jukeboxes. I've got an old TV here because of course I do. And all that to say, I was able to make a little room. So I have made room for our high speed. So we'll set it up here. This will be its bay basically, where we'll fix it. And whenever we get it fixed, we'll roll it over to the other side in the showroom, where we've still got plenty of room and everything over there is nice and orderly and neat. But all of our junky games are over here. Oh, and if you see it from out front, you see this. And so we had somebody complain one time and say, you should at least take the dust off the machines. That's the whole point, folks. We're starting with a dusty machine, and then we fix it all up. That's the whole point. I think we're doing it just fine, okay? So this is our next one. So let's check out the cabinet. Well, I gotta say it's in very nice shape, really. It's probably, like, see, this would have been, the paint probably wore off there and then somebody touched it up. So it's probably been repaired a little bit, touched up a little bit, but it's pretty nice. And the front of this, these always break. The ply starts breaking apart there. And at the bottom, I got rid of our gum. Yeah, the cabinet's in very nice shape. I'm really happy with that. So let's check out the playfield. It has a napkin shoved in where the ball is, but I think they may have done that so that the balls don't fall out when they turn it up. I know that this guy picked this up from upstairs, and I'll show you why I know that here shortly. Stay tuned. I hope the suspense is terrorizing you, because it terrorized me. Okay, so on high speed, the wear is always right here in the middle. So if this looks pretty good, you're good. And that looks pretty good, so we're good. There's a little wear around that bottom middle insert, but not much. So it's certainly in pretty good shape. What happens a lot with these is they were on route and they got the crap played out of them. So they get all kinds of wear on them. And then the operator takes them off route and they sit in a storage building for a long time, and there's different levels of storage building. So if it was kept in a shed, it might be in really bad shape. If it was kept in the back room of the warehouse, it might be in really nice shape. And it also depends on the shape that it was in when they took it off location. Well, once it's sold into somebody's private collection, and and I don't care how much you love pinball, you're just not going to play it as much as it was played out on location. So some of these games, like this one, which is such a cool game, somebody might have bought this, put it in their house, and played it once a year. I mean, that is very common that people, it might only be turned on a few hours a year. So it just gets very little play after it's been brought back out of the warehouse. So that's probably what happened here, which is why there's not a bunch of wear on the playfield. Most of the wear that you see on these happened before it went in somebody's house. It happened when it was still out on location, because it just doesn't get played as much. Now you do see there's a bunch of dirt on the rubber rings and stuff, but again, just a little bit of play over several years will do that. So let's say somebody played, maybe they didn't hide this one away quite that long. Maybe they played it, I don't know, let's say a couple hours a month. Well, after 3 or 4 years, it would have that kind of wear on it if they never cleaned it. So I think we're looking pretty good on the playfield. That's going to be a very nice machine. So I'm very happy with that. And by the way, if there's any doubt, I was joking earlier about how we don't like some of the newer games. This is not really a newer game. This is an older game. This is one of the greatest games ever, without a doubt, in my opinion. So it'll be really cool to get that going. Let's take a peek inside and see if we can tell anything before we set it up. I know a couple secrets about it already. It looks complete. I don't see anything laying down at the bottom that shouldn't be down there. Yeah, I think we're looking pretty good. Here's another interesting thing. If you see on the side this box here, then if you see the outlet there, that's the service outlet where you plug in your soldering iron or whatever, or maybe a little lamp or something. And it's an American plug. So this was probably not a re-import. This was probably made for the United States, stayed in the United States, and blah, blah, blah. That's not that big of a deal, but sometimes we get them where they've been overseas, and it brings up a couple problems. One, they might get damaged shipping back from overseas. And two, sometimes whenever the games are on location, this is not really a pro-America thing. This is just a fact. Sometimes when the games are on location in another country, they didn't have access to repair parts as well as maybe they needed to. So some of the games will just have hacks and, kind of bodged together repairs. Now, there were plenty of American operators that did that too. So, I don't know that it's that big of a deal. But there is kind of a stigma towards a re-imported game, as they call it. They're not imported. They were all made in Chicago. But some of them were shipped to, I don't want to call out any specific country, but a European country. And then same thing, operated over there for a while, and then shipped back. So they call them re-imports. Some of the re-imports sometimes are in really bad shape. You can usually tell by the coin mechs too, like you say 25 cents on them. You can replace that obviously, but a lot of times it will still have the other country's labels on it. I'm not a stickler for any of that stuff. I don't really care. Here's a good example. Funhouse. It says 10 francs. So this was obviously sent to France and then brought back. So it was re-imported from France. So that's an example. That thing's actually in decent shape too, though. Okay, so let's look at the head and see what's going on with that. Obviously, they removed the head to bring it downstairs, which is kind of weird because it has a hinge on it. You don't have to remove the head. Doo-dee-doo-doo-doo. Okay, so just admit it. You thought the secret was that the backglass is broken, didn't you? Well, guess what? That's not the secret. Williams High Speed. This backglass was made by the amazing Python Angelo. Pretty legendary. And this one's in great shape. It's a mirrored backglass. And the first thing that I notice is that 2 of the displays are missing. So Speeder 3 and Speeder 4 are missing their displays. Those are the ones that are alphanumeric, I believe. I may have that backwards. They may just be numeric and the top ones are alphanumeric. But the backglass itself looks like it's in fantastic shape, which is kind of typical of this game. I haven't seen that many of them that are messed up. You just see them where they're broken. So that's very cool. And this was a game that was designed by Steve Ritchie. The man. The man. It still has the siren on top. The plastic's not cracked or anything. The little rotating beacon is inside of there. So very cool. All right, so let me remove the back glass, and I don't even know if the boards are in it. I haven't looked inside of it yet. All right, folks. It is viewer mail time. Today's viewer mail comes from Don. Now, if you are trying to send us a letter, this is our address. Joe's Classic Video Games, 139 Caldwell Street, Rock Hill, South Carolina, 29730. And I believe this is some kind of viewer mail. I hope it's not something we just ordered on eBay and forgot about. Give me a second here and I'll cut it open. Let's see how good that worked. That seems to have worked. All right, so you'll be with me when the tomb is open. I hope there's nothing in here that'll bite me. You think there's anything that'll bite us, Joe? Probably not. Ooh, it's something 3D printed. I don't know what it is, but it looks useful. It's very spongy. So you would put this in something and then do this number. So it's going to spread something maybe. I don't know. Then you got this. I don't know what that would do for. I'll bet there's something that explains it. Oh, there's another part. It seems to be the same thing. In the same size. I don't know what that would be. Joey, come see if you can tell what this thing is.
Let's see.
What is that?
Oh, yeah, I know what this is.
What?
I know exactly what this is.
What is it?
See? Let me show you. You get your multimeter.
I see what he's saying.
You get your multimeter. And then you put them in here like this. Bam. Bam.
And then you can hold
and
them.
then you can go like this. And then you can film it with your other hand. See this freeze up?
One hand for
See?
the other.
Bam.
Makes complete sense.
Top of the line.
Well, thank you, Don. We appreciate that. Now we got one for each hand, too.
Yep.
I could do this twice as fast now.
Well, I'm going to be fixing all kinds
Just
of stuff.
think if you had a meter over here and a meter over here and you're just doing it back and forth. That's pretty cool. All right, Don, we will cherish that. We appreciate you sending them over to try to help us speed up the flow around here. Wait a minute, there's a letter. There's paper. I was wondering why it didn't have anything with it.
I bet money that it's going to tell you what those are in the letter.
Well, I don't know.
What you think?
Well, yeah, I think we just learned something. Yeah, you a lie.
What?
You a lie, Joe.
I didn't do nothing.
Hi, this is Don Littlefield. I talked to Joe on the phone.
Oh, Lord. Woo.
Unbelievable.
Dang it, Don, you weren't supposed to say that.
You a lie, Joe.
I didn't lie about nothing. I never said that he didn't talk to me on
Told
the phone.
him I would send you these like I said. Like I said, you can try them. If you don't like them, just throw them away. I printed these on my 3D printer. Thanks for doing the videos. Thank you, Don. We appreciate that.
Thank you, Don.
They've saved me a lot on the videos, I suppose he says. When I buy on Amazon, I go through your website. I used to not because I didn't know how to do it. Now I do. Thank you sincerely, Don Littlefield. So on our website, we have a parts page up at the top. And if you go to that parts page and click it, we've got a bunch of stuff listed on there that we use in our videos. So we don't have these. This is a new thing for me. But we've got like some of the paint we use whenever we clear coat the play fields and some of the tools we use and stuff like that. And they're just links to Amazon. So if you follow one of those links, it takes you to Amazon, and it has told Amazon with a little cookie that we sent you there. So then anything you buy on Amazon, let's say you're going to go on there and you want to buy some Planters peanuts to be shipped to your house. Don't we all do that? So if you're going to go buy your Planters peanuts, if you go to our website and go through the link, then they say, hey, Don Littlefield, came to Amazon. He bought Planters Peanuts, but the reason he came to Amazon was because he went through Lions Arcade's website. So it gives us a tip. It's like 3% or something like that. We're not supposed to tell you how much it is, but that's about what it averages out there. So we appreciate everybody that's been doing that. There's also a link down below all the videos that'll take you straight to Amazon too. That's the same way. So what do you think, Joe?
Sounds good to me. We appreciate it.
All right, folks. So back to the video. So there is the back of the Backglass. Perfect shape. I would say that's a 10 out of a 10, unless we can tell that the front has faded at all. The rest of it, I don't see any flaws at all in it. It's perfect. Very nice. Beautiful. Okay, so, you know, think about what we've seen here. The cabinet, very nice shape. The playfield appears to be in very nice shape. We haven't got all the way into it. There might be some wear around the pop bumpers or something, but it looks like very nice shape. The Backglass, very nice shape. It's actually much nicer than we usually mess with. It's got 2 displays missing, but not the end of the world. If you look at the pattern on the displays, these top ones, see how you see the X's in the middle of the little digit? That's how you know it's alphanumeric. They need that to make it like an X, for instance. And then this bottom one, see how there aren't? It's just the figure 8. That's because it's numeric. They just need that to make numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. So I can't remember if the bottom ones and the top ones were alphanumeric. See how this connector is smaller than the top one? That's because there's less digits, or not digits, segments. So that kind of confirms for me that the 2 missing ones would be numeric. Now, we don't know if these work. These actually wear out after a while because they're plasma gas displays. They will actually, if you're a pinball guy or girl, you know all of this, but basically the gas will leak out of them eventually. They outgas, they call it. And whenever it does, they lose their ability to light up properly, so you get all kinds of weird stuff going on. So the ones that are in there, we do have 2 missing, but the ones that are in there may be messed up as well. But I also wanted to point out before we go in there, there's no major damage to the backboard. A lot of times you'll see like smoke on here from just the heat of the bulbs being on all the time. You don't really see that on this one. And if you look at this sticker, that's the original sticker. This has not been repainted. This is just all original in very nice shape. Almost exactly how Mr. Sermon sent it out the door that day. All right. So, there's the back of the insert. You can see a little dirt over here from people's grubby fingers. There's the flasher boards. And I believe this is a System 9, is that right? No, System 11. Must be System 11. I don't remember. It may be a early System 9 or it's a System 11, whatever. We had those Pennant Fever games that were like the in-between. I can't remember what those were. Were those System 10? Or System 8, maybe? I don't know. It's all confusing, people. It all runs together. Doesn't really even matter, but hey. I wonder if it says on the board. I mean, that looks like a System 11 board, but I can't remember. There's something about System 9 and System 11 are similar. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's a System 9. We'll look it up later. So all of this, just at first glance, looks fantastic. Very nice shape. And it's not all that important in pinball, but it's what I would call all original. All original. But it's not all original now that I look. We'll go over that here in a second. So if you look at this display master board. Now what I'm about to show you does not matter in pinball machines. It matters in collectible cars and crap, I guess, or I've heard that it does. I'm not really sure how much it does. But to me, it's just interesting because it tells you a story. You kind of get to see the history of it, right? So this is what they call the master display board. And if you look, there's a little sticker there from Williams. And it says 81295. Now that's just a serial number. This game was made in 1986. That 541 is probably the Williams, what would they call that? Project number, maybe we'll call it. 541 probably means high speed. So it's number 81295, okay? So if you go over here to the power supply, this is Williams' old school power supply that they used in all their system 11, I guess. 9, 11, 11, 9. I don't know if they used it before that. But it's the old Williams power supply. The Data East power supply is also very similar to this. Maybe identical to this. But if you look, there is a sticker there that also says 81295. So what does that mean? Well, it probably means that that's the original master display board. Usually you don't have a lot of trouble out of those, so most games probably still have their original master display board. And it's the original power supply because the serial number matches. Again, not that important on pinball machines. A lot of times on pinball machines, people will put brand new boards in them. And if they have brand new boards, they have a perceived value that's higher than the original. So this isn't really a case where originality matters all that much. To pinball machines, people like modding them and adding little trick crap in them and the damn LEDs and all that. And all of that makes it where it's not original, but it actually increases the value. So if someone had taken this power supply out and put a brand new power supply in it and then said, has brand new power board, that actually would increase the value of the machine, as crazy as that sounds. I don't really think like that. I kind of like that they're, you know, the original. I think that's cool that they made it all those years ago and it's still running or can be repaired to still be run. So I think that's cool. I do see a little bit of a repair job that was done here. So they have replaced one of the transistors that runs the display voltages, and they put it in backwards with a heat sink. Now you're going to think, uh-oh, there's a big problem. Not necessarily. There are some of those transistors that are replacements for those where the originals are obsolete. So someone has came up with a replacement that actually installs backwards. So that's probably what's going on there. They've probably put a more modern transistor in there, probably when they sold it into home use, and they mounted the heat sink on it backwards just because the transistor is mounted on the board backwards. Now, the thing's installed up in the game with screws in it and everything. It probably was running just fine like that. So that's probably a good repair, right? We'll find out. So doesn't it kind of help tell the story? Maybe this game, the displays went out, because that is the display power supply voltage. Maybe the displays went out. They took it off route. It was old, so they said, just put it in storage and put a new game out, something newer. Never got around to fixing it. Sold it to somebody, and some repairman fixed it and sold it to somebody for their house. Could be. It's a good story. All right, so then now here we have the flipper board. So this is used for the power for the flippers. And if you look, there's a little sticker. 81295. This is another board, though, that doesn't usually mess up. So that typically just stays right in the game. So that probably, since we have 3 now with the same number, that's probably an original board as well. And then up here, we have the soundboard. Now, on system 11 or 9, if that's what this is, there is a sound area right here on the board. But then there's also another soundboard. And the reason for that is part of it does like background sounds, and part of it does like sound effects and things. So this is kind of a way to expand this area of the board. So this area is its own little subcomputer that's running a soundboard. And this is its own little subcomputer that's running a soundboard. And they all operate kind of together, even though they're separate. So it's got a processor, I guess that's a PIA, a ROM and a RAM, and a crystal you can see right there in the middle of the board. So over here, you've got a RAM, a processor, a PIA to interface it with the main board, and I don't know if I see an extra crystal. I think there's one. And then the actual sound amp is over there in the corner on that heatsink. But if you look at our little soundboard, once again, 81295. And just look how clean everything is. Now we know that the power supply has been worked on because of that little transistor. And if you look, some of the screws are missing out of the power supply. So there's one there and one there. But the one back there that would be really hard to change because it's behind the knocker, it's missing. These two down here are missing. And then all three of the ones on that side are missing. So they pulled that board out and then didn't put the screws back in. Come on, people. If you've got the screw, put the screws back. Come on, people. Come on now. Put the screw. You took them out. Put them back. Do it. Come on now. Do it right, people. Come on now. You're going to make me have to go get extra screws. All right, and then here is the MPU board. So we already talked about the sound section up there. Where is our crystal? I don't see our crystal, but there's one somewhere. And then over here, you've got the batteries that are starting to eat the board. You've got some other PIAs. You've got this up here where I don't know if all that runs the displays, but I think so. I think that's display. That's display. This one, I think this is special solenoids, which are solenoids that need to react really quickly without the computer being involved. So let's say that you've got a switch on the a solenoid on the board that is a saucer. And so the ball lands in the saucer and it touches the switch. And then it physically locks in the saucer because it's a little indention, right? So the ball lands in there and it settles on the switch. Okay, the switch gets depressed. The board reads the switches. So I think the switches plug in down there, I think. And the switches plug in and it says, hey, the ball has landed in the saucer. And then the CPU goes, well, that's pretty cool. Thank you for letting me know. I'm going to take my good, sweet time figuring out what I should do now. And then it goes, let's see here. I've got a book here somewhere. Let me look through this code. And it starts looking through the code and it says, oh, that's right. When the game has already started and when a ball lands in switch 21, hey, that was switch 21, right? And the thing says, yep, it's still sitting there, switch 21. And it goes, okay, the first thing I should do is play a sound effect. So it plays a sound effect. And then it says, the next thing I should do is I should give it 10,000 points. And so it sends a signal to the display to add 10,000 points. And I guess whatever memory it has in there in the RAM to keep track of the score, it keeps 10,000 points. And then it says, okay, now I should play another sound effect. Plays another sound effect. Now I should turn on two lights because when you land in there, you increase the bonus. So we're going to turn on these two lights. And the lights are turned on with these wires. And then when it gets all that done, it says, okay, play another sound effect because it's about to eject. And it tells the soundboard, and then it goes, ching, and then it goes, all right, now turn on the solenoid and kick the ball back out. And so it kicks the ball back out. That's how most switches work. That's how most solenoids work. But there are some, like the kicker might not be a great example. A pop bumper, we'll say. Like a pop bumper, or whatever the special solenoids are, the kickers might be, where the ball hits a switch. And then instead of the switch talking to the CPU and using the clock speed to figure out what all needs to happen and blah, 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 they want it to be quicker than that. So the switch connects to one of those transistors, turns it on, and the transistor kicks the ball, for instance, on the pop bumper or on the kicker. So it's like switch makes a solenoid happen. So that's the difference between the special solenoids and the regular solenoids. The regular solenoids, the computer controls the whole time, and it takes a little longer for those to work. Now, I exaggerated it into a 10-minute conversation, but, you know, it might take half a second, whereas these special ones can do it in a tenth of a second or something like that. Right? So that's the idea behind them. It just, you don't need the CPU involved to make those work. So that's this area. You also have an output here. You've got a little LED display that can give you codes. And then, of course, remember, you have the other displays right here. So all of this is integrated. And then down here, like I said, you have the lamps around here. You have the switches around here, I believe. I think all this is lamps. The switches are right here. Now, each section is controlled by the CPU through a PIA, a peripheral interface adapter. So there's one in the sound section. There's one on the sound board. There's one up here with the special solenoids. There's one up here with the displays, or maybe a couple with the displays. One of these is going to do the lamps. One of these is going to do the switches, maybe that one. Maybe one of them, or maybe this one, I don't know. One of them is going to do it with the regular solenoids. So the PIA is just how you interface with another bank of, you know, whatever you're trying to control, an input or an output. So the switches would be an input. They need to talk to the CPU. And the lamps would be an output. They need to talk to, the CPU needs to talk to the lamps. So the PIAs can be configured, you know, to do either. Now, that's my layman's understanding of it. I'm not an engineer, so, but that's my general understanding of it, and it's got me this far. Okay, so if you look at this MPU board, the MPU board, since it does so much, that's typically where you have problems. So you might have, you know, there's some battery acid damage I see right up here. You might have that you need to work on. Or you might have one of the solenoids stops working because one of these transistors is burnt up. So you got to take the board out to replace the transistor. Or maybe there's a problem with the lamps or whatever, right? So this CPU board is the most likely board really to get removed. I would say that one and then the power supply. So the CPU, if you look at the number on it, it is 84195. When our other ones were 81295, does that say 195? 193. 84193, and our other ones say 81295. Now, there's no guarantee that from the factory all of these had the same part number on them. I don't know that they did. They may have, but I don't know. Another sticker I will show you is this one that says Brady Distributor. So if you look, there's one of those on every one of these boards, even though we were saying that this board has probably never been out of the game. Well, why does it have a sticker from Brady Distributing? It's for repair purposes. So if they get this game in for repair, they put a sticker on all the stuff that's been okayed, right? And why would they do that? It's because the freaking operators, like a lot of people, were dishonest sometimes. So maybe they got a game where the sound's bad, and they just picked up the same game, like a high speed, that the sound's fine. And they know the problem is on that soundboard. So they take their game that they just picked up from the operator, and they swap in the bad board, and then send it back to the distributor or whatever, and say, hey, you said game worked fine, but the sound doesn't work. And then the distributor fixes the board and gives it back to them at no cost. So to stop stuff like that from happening, whenever they got a game in, they would put a sticker on all the boards so you couldn't swap them. They'd say, oh, yeah, the sound was working on board number 86. Your board doesn't even have a sticker on it. You're lying to me. Get out of here. You're banned from Brady Distributing. That was the idea behind it. So it kept everybody honest. It's like a cheap padlock. It doesn't keep the crooks out, but it does enough to keep the honest people from turning into crooks. Okay, so have you figured out what this game's secret is yet? Some of you figured it out immediately. I figured it out immediately because I've been deceiving you a little bit. Let me show you the game's secret. The game's secret is, when the guy picked it up at the house, he didn't know how to take all of the connections loose. So he cut all the connections. So every wire between the head and the body has been completely severed. Even the audio cable. So the game's dirty little secret is it looks really nice. And it was really nice 2 days ago. But the guy didn't know how to take it apart. And he couldn't get it down the stairs with the head folded down. So he cut all the wires loose to take it down the stairs. Now, this would infuriate a lot of people. But I've seen it before, folks. I'm not that worried about it. We're going to fix it. So all we need to do is just repair every one of these wires. This is 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So there's lucky number 13 there. This one has 3 in it, so that's 16. 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32. I think I did that right. 32. 34, 36, 38, 40, 42, 44, 46, 48, 50, 52, 54, 56, 58, 60, 62, 64, 66, 68, 70, 72, 74, 76, 78, 80, 82, 84, 86, 88, 90, 92, 94, 96, 98. I count 100, maybe an even 100. So there's 100 wires that have been cut. So I need to splice together 100 wires to fix this thing. Now, the guy said whenever he did it, he said he hated to do it. He almost cried when he was doing it. And, you know, we told him. I wasn't here, but Joey told him. He's like, look, man, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, we'll fix it. Don't worry about it. And that's the truth. It's not that big of a deal. We'll fix it. Don't worry about it. It's not ideal. I wish they hadn't been cut. But if them being cut was the difference between the thing getting thrown away and the thing getting saved, it's made it to the right place. So there you go, folks. So you know what we're going to do on video number 2. We're going to splice all those wires back together. So that's our story of the beginning of the high-speed pinball. Very long-winded. I hope the payoff was worth it for you. We will see you on the next video.